In this editor video, I'm going to show you guys how to use your very own assets and import and use them in the editor. It's awesome. So check it out. Alright, so here we go. Importing your own assets. So what you're going to need is to jump over to arcade.com, and once registered, jump into your profile. And here are all your profile items on the left. In fact, let me go full screen. So in addition to your avatar, in the scenes you already know about, here's where your scene assets are going to live, published or unpublished. But underneath assets, this is where all of your assets are going to live. And it includes scenes, prefabs, materials, and all the way down. And so how you get those into your scene, into Arcade, is by using the imports. Now this might not be available to everybody, but we will be rolling it out shortly. And so the items you can import into Arcade are FBX files, images, which will turn into textures, and MP3s. So all audio files right now are MP3s. And you just basically upload those and they're available. So your MP3s can be sound bites or ambient music, and it depends on how you want to use it. You'll specify the length, volume, pitch in the editor, but here are the raw files for that audio. If you want to organize the audio files, you can change the folder. So let's say I wanted to actually move this into the music folder. I would change folder and change it to music, and there you go. Now it's actually inside the music folder, and here it is. So you can upload and organize your assets. Let's jump over to images. Images is the same thing. You can drag and drop a PNG or a JPEG, and it's not going to be a texture at this point. So what you're going to do with this is you're going to then, after you import it, after you upload it, you're going to import the image, and this will convert it to an actual usable texture. And then you can use it in editor from there. FBXs are special. This is our high-level container for a prefabricated group or hierarchy of game objects, and here's an example that I did for Traverse, where I wanted to have a number of grass and tiles. So what I did is I made an FBX of these individual tiles and some grass, and brought those in. And the FBX format will support, if you embed the PNGs or JPEGs, those should come across. And just like textures, the process is to upload that FBX, and then you're going to import the FBX. And once you do that, it'll make a game ready prefab, and store that prefab underneath your assets. So for example, that character prefab is here. The teapot prefab, teapot.fbx is here. So once you import that FBX and make it into a prefab, you can go ahead and bring it in Engine. So let's now go into a scene and use some of the assets that we did import. It's also good to note that the assets are not publicly available in the sense that somebody can start using your assets. You can publish your assets. That said, we hope you do publish your assets to make the community richer, but you don't have to. They can remain with you in a draft state. You can also delete them if you're not comfortable. But to access your assets, go to the high-level root, say prefabs, and then on the left is going to be user. And here are all the assets that you've created. So for example, if I had rocks, these look to be rock items. Here's the teapot that I just imported from an FBX file. And it is a big teapot. But you get it. And so we can actually go ahead and let me scale this down a little more. And then play, and you'll see our teapot will be in the scene. So it's pretty easy getting your own assets. Now I'm going to walk through this because remember, I didn't really set it up. There's no collider on this object, so I'll have to go back into the editor, apply a mesh collider to it so that I can hit it or jump on it. In fact, let me just show you what I'm talking about. And let me go ahead and add a mesh collider to it. And now it should be interactable. We just won't walk through it. I don't know if I can get that high. Let's see. Oh yeah, so now I'm on top of the teapot that I just imported. So pretty cool. Let me jump back into the editor and cover one final point worth mentioning. So if this is your scene, right, you have the ability to now export a hierarchy of objects in a prefab. So let's say I had these two trees and I wanted to put both of them underneath the same object. I could create a game object, call it prefab. And then put these tree items beneath that prefab. And then I could select and export just that prefab of the trees. This is only available if this is your scene again, so nobody can jump into your scene and start exporting the items that you made. So once exported, your prefabs will show up just like any of your other assets, and this one will be under prefabs. So if you want to piecewise a castle, right, build a castle, you're happy with the castle, it's made from a bunch of different parts, you could save that castle as a prefab. Alright, so there you have it, importing your own assets and using them in the editor. It's pretty awesome stuff. I'm hoping you like it. As always, I'm Vince. Happy gaming.